Hello, everybody. Van Potts here with the Metabolic Wealth Investing Network. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to get this thing started and going, and it's been something I've wanted to do for a while, but I've always had a million excuses why I'm not going to do it, and now I'm going to do it. So, the purpose of my channel is all about trying to help people improve their metabolic health. And, my grandmother used to tell me all the time, if you have your health, you're the wealthiest guy in the world. And so, what we're all about here is working on metabolic health. Now, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time about the channel because I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what I've been doing the last 3 or 4 weeks because I think it's pretty interesting and pretty important. And I think it's doable for anybody. So, I started on the ketogenic diet. And before I get into exactly what I did, I'm going to give you the things that are great and the things that aren't so great. Before I get into that, I just want to explain that um, the ketogenic diet is where you deprive yourself of carbohydrates. You don't deprive yourself of food. You eat pretty much all you want, but you deprive yourself of carbohydrates. And the idea is that your body has two types of energy that it can use: glucose, sugar, or ketones. And um, glucose spikes insulin, which is the storage hormone. And so anybody that knows me knows I've said that weight management, weight gain, weight loss is all hormonal and psychology. It's not calories in, calories out. So it's hormonal. And what the game with keto is to try to get your carbohydrates down so your body is at a deficit with glucose. And then it starts using the liver to use fat to produce ketones and power your body. That's what it's all about. And it's powerful. So I can tell you that it really works. There are essentially three reasons to do a ketogenic diet. And I'll do number three for me personally. What was number three? But number one, you might do a ketogenic diet if you are in need of some ketogenic therapy. So, for example, if you are a type 2 diabetic, or if you're pre-diabetic and you want to reverse diabetes or pre-diabetes, or you want to have better blood glucose, you might go into a ketogenic therapy. There are people that will tell you that ketogenic therapy works for heart disease, works for cancer, works for a lot of the chronic illnesses that are gripping the nation right now. The second reason you might want to do it is to improve some metabolic markers. So you might want to do it because you want to have lower glucose, lower fasting insulin, things like that. Now, I will tell you, I do not have any ketogenic therapeutic reasons. Mine is reason number three, and that is strictly vanity. I wanted to lose some weight. So 12% of the nation is metabolically healthy. I am one of those 12%. And 20% of the 12% are MHO, metabolically healthy and obese. And I happen to be one of those people. I'm part of the 20% of the 12%. So 200 of us are overweight and we are uh, metabolically healthy. So I'm going to show you my metabolic markers. They're really good. And my fasting insulin is in range. My leptins are in range. My C-reactive protein is in range. My fasting glucose is in range. My A1C is in range. So metabolically, I'm in pretty good shape. I started this whole process. I was in the 270s, 270 pounds. Um, my various charts I look at want me to be in the low 200s, like 210, 220, even inside of 200. I don't think I would look very good inside of 200. So my personal goal is to try to get to 230, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going to just cut to the chase and tell you that I'm sitting here right now at around 256, 257, just sort of depends. When I got started, I was in the 270s. I was one of those people that didn't really want to step on the scale that much because, I didn't want to step on the scale. I didn't want to look at it. But I do have some records that went back. So I'm going to tell you what I did. And then I'm going to tell you why it's great, and I'm going to tell you what are the things that you might want to be wary of. So I started in September. My brother-in-law was doing carnivore, pure strict carnivore, nothing but meat and fat. And I saw the change in him. He arguably lost too much weight, to be honest with you, and he did it fast, probably 90 days, something like that. So I came home in September and I tried it, and 15 days I saw really, really fast changes. But then I had to go traveling. So I traveled for the end of September, month of October. I came back in November. I want to say it was around November 2nd or 3rd. I went to my primary care physician on November 5th. I remember that because it was election day and I had to go vote after that. But my weight was around, I want to say it was 271, 273, something like that. And it was interesting because he asked me what I weighed, and I told him. He said, "I don't believe that." And I stepped. He thought I weighed quite a bit less. And I stepped on the scale. I was like, "I would have never believed you weighed that much," but I did. So he ordered the blood taken from me, and he did one set of labs, and then I did another set in December. So he did the set in November, and then I went to Function Health, and I did that set in December. In the November set, everything came back great, and I was losing weight all the way through, to getting to around Christmas. And it was fantastic. And I kind of went up and down a little bit. And the reason is because I made up my mind that over the Christmas holiday, if I wanted to have some potatoes or some pasta, I was going to do it. And you pay the price when you do that. I'll get to that in a second. But when the labs that he ordered came back, that was the one thing that stood out on him was I was firmly in ketosis. So it was a big, bold, you're in ketosis. It was a big, bold thing. It was pretty interesting. But all of my metabolic markers were excellent. And he actually said in the follow-up appointment, he goes, your cholesterol's a little bit high, but you don't have any inflammation and everything else is perfect. Therefore, no statin. So that happened. Then December happened, and I was on it. And I would say one other thing in the third, and I'll get into that here in a second. The third week in November, which was the second week of working on this particular lifestyle and diet plan, I was pretty sick. I had the keto flu. It's called the keto flu. It's a known thing for people that want to go into ketosis. I had it pretty good. As a matter of fact, I had it enough where I was contemplating just like going, I don't need to do this. So I had to go to Canada that week, and I was in Canada, and I remember not feeling particularly well. And then I did the work that I had to do, and I got on the airplane Sunday morning, and all of a sudden, it just was like something just washed over me. I felt fine. And after that, I felt really, really good. Have talked to a couple of friends who've done it, and they said your first time really going down hard with it, you will get the keto flu. But then if you cycle in and out, you don't have that really happen again. December came and went. I was away for 2 weeks on Christmas break, and I had purposely thrown myself out of ketosis, and I was weighing 265. So for that period in 265, 267, maybe 267, I have the records. I can't remember exactly, but for that period that I was down there, I ate pretty much what I wanted to eat. I mean, I don't eat a poor diet. I don't eat a shitty diet. I don't eat sugar anyway, but I did have potatoes. I did have rice. I did have pasta. So I had all that kind of stuff. Then I made up my mind when I got back that I would go at it hardcore. And this is where it kind of gets interesting. So on I think it was January 5th, I started back, whatever that Monday was. I think it was the 5th or the 6th. I can't remember. I started back and I was like, okay, I'm after this full on. And I got to the third week, which was last week. Today is January 27th. Or is it the 27th or the 28th of 2025? Anyway, I got to that third week and I was like feeling like I was impatient. Like, why is this taking forever? Just seems like it's going forever and ever. I should also say I decided not to be pure carnivore because I got bored with food. I enjoy my salads and I'm good at certain things. So anyway, I was having mostly protein and fat and a little bit of salads as well. So the third week, and it was last Thursday or Friday actually, I started looking at my apps, and all of a sudden I noticed I'm like, I'm losing about 3 pounds a week. And I'm not really even trying that hard. This is pretty interesting how this is all going. So, um, my daily pace is 6/10 of a pound per week. I'm sorry, per day, and it's moving along pretty quickly. So I'm actually really impressed with that. There's a couple days left here in January. What I've seen for me, I weigh myself every day. They tell you not to do that. I do it because I'm tracking some things and making some charts. But um, what I've seen for me is I will, kind of come down a little bit, like maybe a half a pound. Then I'll go up maybe a pound and a half, then come down. It's kind of a little bit of a sort of a yo-yo type thing. And then I'll have some big drops. And the big drops are kind of where, like I'll literally drop 2.5 pounds or something like that. So the net of it is right now I'm at 256. So that means I went from down about 50, probably 15, 16 pounds, something like that, since I first got started. At the pace I'm going, by May or June, I should be at my goal and should have no problems. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna just start eating, about a ton of carbs or anything like that, but it does mean that I'll be there and I will be able to probably have, if I want, some rice, pasta, or potatoes. Now, I don't know that I'm ever really going to go back, to be honest with you. So let's, I got to put my glasses on but I made a list for all the great things and then the watch outs. So which one do you want to do first? I'm going to do the great things first, and then I'll give you the things that I think you have to watch out for. So the first thing, and I can't say this enough, if and there's a lot of research on this, by the way. I can go as deep in the research as you want, just have to ask. But um, you can eat all you want. Satiety is not an issue with this particular program, but you can't eat carbs. It's got to be protein and fat. And I have to tell you also that there are a couple of things that you have to watch out for. If cholesterol is one of your concerns and building up plaque, you have to be careful on that. I happen to be one of those people that, I can't officially diagnose myself because, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist or anything like that, but I would call myself a lean mass hyperresponder. As I have gone into ketosis. My LDL cholesterol is probably the highest it's ever been. I don't care. My APOB is kind of a mess. I don't care. My lipoprotein A is super, super low, and all my other metabolic markers are just absolutely excellent. So I don't care, and actually, my primary care physician doesn't care. I don't have any inflammation, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, the point of the story is you can eat all you want. Satiety is not a problem. And by the way, if you're fighting hunger on any program, if you're fighting hunger, you're going to lose because you are hardwired evolutionary wise and in terms of how the good Lord above made you, you are hardwired to eat and seek nutrition when you're hungry. So part of the great thing of being in ketosis is that you're never hungry. You're just not. You can eat all you want. I eat 1 or 2 meals a day. There's no shortage of times when I eat twice a day. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. No shortage of times when I eat once a day. So I'll have a big lunch, which I break fast typically between noon and 1, sometimes 2, and then I don't eat again the rest of the day. So that's the first thing is you can eat all you want, but you've got to stay under 20 grams of carbohydrates or you will throw yourself out of ketosis. And by the way, staying under 20 grams of carbohydrates, as long as you understand what to eat, is not difficult. Number two, I already talked about it. Satiety and hunger, not a problem. You will have no issues with going to bed hungry, waking up hungry, all that other happy stuff. Maybe in the first 2 or 3 weeks before you go through the keto flu, maybe you might experience a little bit of satiety, anxiety. It's possible, but I know I haven't. I'm always satiated, and being full is not a problem. Number three, you will lose weight. You will. Period. End of story. Unless there's some weird freak group of people that I'm not unaware of, that I've never heard of, that for whatever reason doesn't, you'll lose weight. And I have to tell you and say that when I started, I was like, this is ridiculous. Why is this taking so long? And then all of a sudden I started looking at the numbers. I'm like, it doesn't take very long at all. It goes pretty quick. So, but you do have to get yourself into ketosis. So, number four, your cravings will go away. So, um, you definitely will have cravings at first. Get carbohydrates. I would say the number one thing I learned in 2024, number one thing I learned in 2024, carbohydrates are crazy, crazy, outrageously addictive. Now, it's a whole nother video for a whole nother time, but the food system we have in our country, and indeed in a lot of parts of the world, is built to get you addicted. So it's not really that shocking that carbohydrates are addictive, but yeah, carbs are really, really, really addictive. Um, However, once you get past it, you will get past the keto flu, and you get past, especially when you start seeing some results, the cravings go away. Now, I have to say, I have not eaten sugar since 2011. I've been off sugar that long. I read labels. I don't buy crap that has sugar in it. So I had that one leg up on a lot of people. I don't, the only problem I had was carbohydrates, but carbohydrates are also addictive, and that's because your body turns it into sugar. So just understand that that's the reality, and those cravings do go away. Number five, you'll feel better. You won't believe how much better you'll feel. That's just a fact. You'll feel better. And then number six, and this is so true. Once you start seeing the results, you're just ready to power through and do more and more and more. I mean, I have to say, when I looked at that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like down, 12, 13, 14 pounds. It's only 3 weeks. When I saw that, that just keeps you going in a path. Now, granted, I'm, probably 2 months in, sort of 2 months into it. Is again, I had that Christmas time where I walked away from it. But it then you see that weight and you're like, oh yeah, this is doable. Then you start doing the math and you start looking at the calendar. You're like, oh yeah, I can get to the goal and I can do this. And it's not that hard. It's not like, like I said, the cravings go away. I don't. It's not like I want to eat potato chips or mashed potatoes or any of that kind of stuff. So anyway, now let's get into the things that can be a little bit tricky for all of you out there, metabolic wealth investors. I hope you're all investing in your metabolic wealth. You don't want to be sick and be dependent on somebody as you get into your older years. Number one, I already covered it. That's the keto flu. It's real. Happened to me. Um, Man, it was. I just remember thinking to myself, "Is this really worth it?" There are electrolyte compounds that you can use to try to get through some of the nausea and things like that. I definitely think if that's what you want to do, use some electrolytes. There's a lot of them out there that you can use. That'll help. I still take electrolytes every once in a while because I exercise a lot, and there's times when I might not get enough salt on some of my food or something. So, but that was the number one thing that was pretty rough. You don't feel good for a solid 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5 days, maybe a week. But then when you pop out of it, you're like, I was never there. It's great. So you feel better. Number two, the cravings in the beginning. You'll have the cravings for two reasons. Maybe three. Number one, you'll have them because you're addicted. And that's part of the game here, folks. You have to really look in the mirror and say, I'm addicted. I'm an addict. You have to be able to come to terms with that. It's real. It happens, and you've got to get through it. So you will have cravings at first. because you're addicted. The next reason you'll have cravings is because they're all around you. Try to get in the car and not see a billboard for some fast food or some, garbage junk food or something like that. You're going to have them. So what you have to be able to do is remember in your mind that you got a bigger purpose here. And hopefully you're doing it for vanity and not because you're sick. That's just the reality, right? Hopefully you're doing it for vanity and not because you're sick. You don't want to get sick, and this is how you keep from doing that in the first place. So you will yeah, three, I think is kind of the same thing as the cravings. I mean, the carbs are everywhere. Now, um, my spouse, my wife, she's got the opposite problem. It's hard for her to gain weight. And so she will definitely have she'll definitely have potatoes or pasta. Uh, it doesn't bother me. I don't really care. Like she keeps it and eats it. It doesn't, I even make it for her, it doesn't really bother me. But for those people that really are in that beginning stage of trying to understand this and get through it, carbs are everywhere. You get in your car, you're going to see billboards. You walk into a grocery store. I mean, one thing when you're on a ketogenic program, I would say that probably 80%, 90% of the grocery store is just off limits. It's just off limits. So, and we'll get into that. That's another video. Number four, this is really important. You cannot have a cheat day. You really can't. Not for the period of time that you're going to keep yourself into ketosis to get through your program. You'll defeat everything if you do that. Um, Cheat days are really important to some people, and I've cannot tell you how many diet programs, how many restrictive calorie programs. I cannot tell you how many people are like, I want to have a cheat day. I want to have a cheat day. You know, I can't speak to other programs. I don't really believe in dieting. I think everything's lifestyle. But on the ketogenic program, what you're after, you cannot have a cheat day. You have one box of French fries or a cookie or a slice of cake or pie, you're going to throw yourself out of ketosis and you got to start all over again. And by the way, it takes 2 or 3 weeks to get into ketosis. So why would you sabotage yourself and do that to yourself? You just shouldn't. So no cheat days. You can't do it. Number five, you you do have to have some willpower. You have to understand the bigger picture and you have to stay focused on it and you got to work at it. You cannot, you just can't sit there and go, well, you know, I'm gonna do it today, and tomorrow you're like, I was gonna do it today. The only thing that almost got me on the willpower was was the keto flu. But you got to have the willpower to stay through it. And if you can do the willpower to stay with it for a month, you'll make it 2 months, you'll make it three. You'll make it as long as you want to make it. Not a problem. Last but not least, if you have a family member, and these are all kind of tied together, right? They're all tied together. If you have a family member and that's doesn't need to be on this program or won't be on the program and doesn't want to be on it, doesn't, for whatever reason, and your willpower is a little bit suspect, um, you're gonna have some issues. So just be aware of that. So those are kind of the six things to watch out for. We talked about the five things that no, six things that are great about it. But anyway, that's it for now. It's a great program. I love it. I can't sit here and say that I'm never going to not have a piece of bread again or some potatoes or rice or whatever. I make a great basmati rice. I've not had my last basmati rice or my last slice of pizza for the rest of my life or anything like that. But I am saying that in spurts, when I really want to keep my, for vanity, keep my weight down, or I want to, improve a metabolic marker, I will say that it is an absolutely spectacular tool that we should all be thinking about exploring. So that's it. Van Potts with the Metabolic Wealth Investing Network. Thanks for checking me out. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I am building this channel, so I think it's going to take a while to get some viewers. Definitely like, definitely subscribe, definitely share with your friends. I really appreciate it. Like I said, and I will put a video up at some point about everything that my channel is about, but it is about making America healthier because I think that one of the things that's really not good in our society is all of the chronic illness we have. And I just breaks my heart and I just hate seeing it. So I'd like to see everybody empower themselves. I don't want to see laws change or anything like that. I just want people to be able to empower themselves and be healthier. That's it for now. Van Potts, Metabolic Wealth Investing Network. Have a great night.